You know, one of my favorite passages, or really verses in this gospel, one of my favorite verses is this. You may find this a little strange, but it's my favorite one. It's where Jesus goes into the room where Simon Peter's mother-in-law is in bed, sick with a fever. He walks into the room, this poor lady is suffering, and Jesus goes over to her, and it says this. Jesus went in to her, and he took her by the hand and helped her up. Jesus went in to her, he took her by the hand, and he helped her up. Amigos, that has happened to you. The Lord has come to you when you think that there is no way out, and he helped you up. You can look back over your life, and you will find that repeatedly. Many people say, this family is sinking. There's no way out. You know, I'll never get through this. And the Lord came to you and took you by the hand and helped you up, This happens repeatedly in the lives of people, You can look, you have just a minute or two. You can look through the Gospels about how Jesus used his hands. I have always been fascinated by this. For example, it says that he took this lady's hand by the hand and helped her up. You remember when St. Peter was walking on the water? Jesus was walking on the water, and Peter says, if it's you, tell me to come on out of the boat. And Jesus calls his bluff, and he gets out of the boat. But he takes his eyes off of Christ, and he puts his eyes on the waves and on the wind, on the problem. And down he goes, and he starts to sink. And what's it say that Jesus does? He reached out his hand and took Peter and lifted him up. What about on the cross? How did Jesus use his hands? You know, like this, something like that. What about at the Last Supper? This is my body. What about when lepers were in front of him? I do will it, be cured. What about when blind people were in front of him and they could see? What about, he would just touch them. What about the old stinky feet of the apostles at the Last Supper? When he got down on his hands and knees, what did he do? He washed their feet with his hands, with his divine hands. He washed the feet of people that he created. That's an awesome thought, by the way. People would bring little children to him, and they would want Jesus to take his hands and touch the children. I'll read it to you. Then little children were brought to him that he might put his hands on them and pray. The apostles would try to chase the children away, but Jesus would say, let the children come to me. Let the children come to me. And he would touch them. The point I'm trying to make is this. Please listen. Jesus has no hands but yours. He has no hands but mine. It's interesting to look back over your life, how you've used your hands. What just came to your mind? Look back how you used your hands. Have you used your hands for good or for sin? For purity, impurity? To fight, to make peace? It's interesting to look at that. You know, when people are anointed and they receive the sacrament of anointing of the sick, like some of you may have had that if you ever go to the hospital and you're going to have surgery or something like that, and the priest anoints you. Where does he anoint? He anoints your forehead because 4 of your senses are in your head. You can hear, you can see, you can smell, and you can taste. It's like the purification of these senses. You know where else he anoints you? Anoint your hands. It's like the church is praying that through this holy anointing, that the misuse of your hands, of your sense of touch, that it be healed and purified. That is a very good reflection, to look at how Christ used his hands to heal, to touch children, to cure people, to drive out demons. And how have you used yours?